The idea of moving on isn't easy, and this manga shows it in the wildest way possible. Don't let this BL tag fool you, otherwise you're missing out on a story that really feels like it's crushing your guts. Just reading part of the first chapter was enough to give this sense of dread and anxiety, and safe to say the manga only gets much darker, creepier, and depressing through every progressing chapter. So just a warning, if you can't handle the start, you most likely will have an even harder time later on, with more questions following every answer and this constant feeling of suspicion that makes you want to keep reading more. I can see why this manga won a first place award, beating Tatsuki Fujimoto's By Guiezao Eri, and I don't say this lightly given how much of a Fujimoto fanboy I am. From the quality of writing, the extremely detailed art style, the pacing, with sudden interruptions and paneling in pages that makes it feel like you're watching an immersive anime or a movie, sprinkle in the unique premise and the emotional message of it all, wrapped up in this eldritch horror element, you get this amazing piece by Ren Mokumoku, The Summer Hikaru Died, or光が死んだ夏. Following best friends Yoshiki and Hikaru, two students from a tiny rural village who grew up together, until half a year ago Hikaru mysteriously got lost in the mountains and disappeared for an entire week, only to return and not talk about what happened. But Yoshiki noticed something was off. The body of Hikaru, the memories, and maybe even the emotions were still there, but in some ways it didn't feel like the same Hikaru he knew, casually confronting him and telling him something about him seems different. To Hikaru's shock, as he starts melting into this formless being, surprised that his perfect imitation was seen through, something in Hikaru's body was playing human, and it wanted it to stay that way, begging Yoshiki to keep it a secret, otherwise he would have to kill him. I guess at that point it's a threat, to which Yoshiki agrees. Thus begins the story with an extremely strange dynamic between the not-so-alive Hikaru and Yoshiki navigating their usual life, while pretending everything is as it used to be, and Yoshiki, along us with the reader, slowly finding out more about this unusual creature. What adds to the suspense is the fact that you can't even tell if the creature is lying or telling the truth. It's the fact that Yoshiki also has to grieve and process the loss of his friend, while his friend's dead body is actively moving around with something inside it that he has absolutely no idea of, and happens to be very attached to him. It's a confusing scenario for Yoshiki, but it's also a way for him to cling on to his friend, and someone he dearly loves, and maybe even deny that Hikaru is in fact dead to some extent. Acknowledging completely that Hikaru is no longer human would be like letting go of that little comfort he has left, despite how creepy the situation is, with strange people around Yoshiki constantly warning him to put some distance between him and the supposed monster. The fact that this bizarre horror story also works as a subtext for the idea of moving on, grasping onto the things you love, and their love grasping onto you, even after they're gone, to the point that they aren't even human, a monster that brings you down with them and consumes everything around you, makes it much more interesting to read. So yeah, if you're looking for a manga to read that will make you question a lot of things, this is it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and hit subscribe if you're new here. I always talk about anime, manga, and Japan related stuff, so if you're interested in that, do hit subscribe. Bye bye, goodbye, subscribe, peace.